Hello, and welcome everyone to this week's stream. So this is going to be a much shorter stream than usual. I know I always say that, but I actually mean it this time because I've got a hard deadline in an hour where we have to be done with the stream. Uh, so we're going to do the best we can. We're actually not quite even going to manage to get 5 drops here, but hopefully we'll have somebody to raid who can help you out afterward. And I'm here with a new guest co-host that maybe chat you can try to convince to stick around for a while. So isidafo, you wanna say hi?
Yeah, hello everyone. Isidafo. I've probably seen me in Discord a million times. Been playing this for a while, so hopefully it's fun.
Yeah, I think we've wanted to get you on a stream for quite a while. Have you done one of these before, or
I I don't think I've been on a stream before. No, I mean I've definitely listened to them, but I don't think I've been part of them.
it's tougher on the other end?
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
But Isidafo is definitely not only one of the strongest players in the game, but one of the people. I feel like as a tournament player, there are a handful of teams that you really don't want to see in your bracket, and this is definitely one of the ones that I'm not happy when I draw in a tournament. So great to have you on, and please stay away from my team and everything that we enter.
Well, we are on opposite sides of the Friday low silver that's currently ongoing, so
That's good.
could get a finals matchup potentially. We'll see.
That could be fun. Yeah, so we're going to do this a little bit of a speed round, but maybe, since you haven't been on stream before, anything you want to tell us real quick about, you or kind of what got you into OTP or anything like that?
I mean, I've been a baseball fan since I don't know a long time, I guess. Since I was like very young. Also big kind of statistics, analytic stuff. So pretty natural fit. Been playing OTP before that. Kind of with PT, I tried it. That was great. So stuck with it.
Cool. And obviously worked out pretty well for you. Uh, so
Yeah.
what do we got this week? So we've got about 20 cards. So we're gonna have to kind of do the speed round because we know we have to be off in an hour. But maybe Chad will convince you to return for a future week if this all goes well. So
Yeah, we'll see. If they're not too unruly, maybe I could be convinced.
we got a good chat. So maybe we should just get right to some of the cards here. Uh, so actually, the first one on the list, if we're just going by overall, is a card that literally just dropped 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So we got this 40 overall limited edition Rangers Jose Canseco. Um, let's see. I haven't even looked at the card yet. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it.
I glanced at it briefly, but
So what do we
not.
got here? We got, let's see, about 68 power, not a ton of eye, right field, but not a great right fielder, eligible to play left, but not trained, and we've got kind of decent base running. Is 93 the Jose Canseco that heads balls over fences?
I don't know which year that was, but it could be
It's one of the Rangers' years, right?
one of the Rangers here, certainly.
So, all right, 40 overall. So we're definitely looking at that is the Canseco they reference for today's release. EVC says. Um, so I don't know if your heading ability goes into outfield range or outfield error.
Yeah, that's a good question. I need an outfield head rating or maybe outfield foot rating for Paul O'Neill.
Yeah, that's right. I actually the baseball reference page for Paul O'Neill says that he's a left-footed kicker.
Yeah, that's important to know.
Um, so so I guess look, it's a 40 overall, so you're not looking at playing this card in open tournaments, you're looking at playing this card in cap tournaments. And the question is, out of the other 40 overalls, when you're throwing in a free card, are you going to play Jose Canseco? So
Uh, I'm not sold. I've generally been playing this live Nathan Lukes as my 40 overall outfielder. Um, Plays all three positions and has a lot better defense. Um, if I have extra spots, I guess this is a card I might consider just to pinch hit or something, but I don't think I'm too excited about him.
yeah, I think I'm somewhere similar. I think Luke's. So I do have Canseco's bat as being better than Luke's, but the thing is, in Luke's, you really want, if you're going to run any sort of backup, you want a multi-position backup. This is at best a one-position backup and not a great right fielder defensively. Crash asks pitching ratings. Does the card have pitching ratings?
That's a good question.
I
Let me
have no
find
way of
out.
seeing that in the card shop.
I can check 1 second. He has 17 P home run and 8 P BABIP and one everything else. Oh, two stuff. I'm sorry, two stuff.
He has two stuff. Okay, so he does have pitching ratings, but not useful ones. Yeah, and I think even if I were just going for like a pure DH, I think I'd rather even run like a Frank Chance and just at least take all that I, because often your 40 overall is going to be outmatched by the pitchers in whatever cap tournament you're running, and at
Yeah.
least if you have I, you're gonna walk somewhere.
No, and Frank Chance plays a whole bunch of positions too that are helpful. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess you have a like historical era thing, maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. So I think I. So what do you think? I think it's a fun card. It's nice that they're releasing it. You got a good story, but I don't think the card's gonna ever play anything, right?
yeah. Can we give it an H for head? Is that
Give it an H for head.
it's probably a D or an F. Yeah.
We can give it a yeah. It probably is an F, but it's a fun card. That's like it's fun that they release stuff like this.
Yeah. No, it's a good card to have in the game, but it's not going to play.
All right, let's go on then. Nick Markakis. So on to the content from yesterday. So here we've got another right fielder who really isn't great defensively. One thing I noticed is in their position ratings, the outfield error here. This huge outfield error isn't really contributing that much to the right field position rating, which is kind of interesting just because I think that might be a change in the overall formula. But
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys like that. The top Yelich is like that too, I think. And there's some other ones, but yeah, the error doesn't seem to make much difference anymore this year.
yep. Chat started deciding whether Canseco maybe Canseco gets a D. All right, we'll give him a D for Doink. That's a good one. um, so all right, Markakis, he's got no power. So I guess we're looking at this card. We're kind of only looking at it in a really early era, right?
Yeah, and then the defense I think kind of kills it. So
Yeah, I think this isn't going to play even as a 60 for sort of a free card.
no.
Uh, I almost wonder in like an 1876 kind of thing, is that error rating going to help? But yeah, I think this
I
one.
I think even 876 is range too low, and arm actually gets pretty important there because base runners do so much
Oh, that's true, and he doesn't have
stupid
arm.
stuff. Yeah,
All right, so this is an F tier, I guess.
yeah.
All right, we are going to try very hard to do the speed round because, like I said, we have a hard stop. So,
This one was that one so bad. Conseco was a little fun.
all right, so we got Keon Broxton, a center fielder that again really isn't a center fielder.
Yeah.
Let's see what he got. He's got some speed. He's got some base running. I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts? Where are you rating this one?
Ooh, if this guy played left and right, maybe I'm interested. As it is, his defense really isn't better than Gorman Thomas, and he's like a much worse hitter. So
Yeah, I think you're always playing
yeah,
Gorman over this card for the one extra point. Like, there are very few better uses of 1 point than that kind of upgrade.
yeah. Even Don Locke is gonna be for 2 points. I'd be willing to go for.
So I will say, of the 60 overalls, I do have him at least close to playable. I've got him the fifth best bat, I think. But the problem is the gap between this and, say, Sal Bando is enormous. So you're still not running him as a DH.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think what JD's saying maybe it's a pinch runner, but that's probably unless you have a ton of roster space, that's not really going to be a good use of this
Yeah,
card.
so well, bronze floor, I guess you do have a ton of roster space because it's is it 1921?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, so maybe there you could fit him in, I guess. Um, there is this Carlos Gomez that is probably better as the
I've
new
got
red
him
cloud.
second behind Gomez just overall as a center field option for 60 overall, but
Yeah,
I'd pay the 1 point for Gorman Thomas.
yeah, absolutely. No, I think there's a pinch runner. I think the Gomez is 106 stealing, so I'd rather have that.
Okay, so I guess we're not running. All right, so I guess this one also just is unplayable then.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, all right, let's go on. Miguel Andujar. There definitely are some better cards in this set.
They're coming. Just not the bronzes.
The bronzes aren't as strong. Okay, so we've got listed as a third baseman, but okay, I mean to me this one's pretty easy. So he's
Yeah,
not a third baseman. He has absolutely no eye, so he doesn't get on base. This actually
yeah,
might be the weakest card in the set.
yeah. Doesn't play defense. Just completely worthless.
All right, I think we can quickly give that one an F and keep going with the speed round. See, we actually are being fast this week. I promise,
Yeah,
Chad.
well, it helps when the cards are just horrible.
There are a few that aren't going to play. All right, well here we go. So Leo Cardenas, this is more interesting because you do have 88 range. The bat, just anything with this little eye and this little power, I'm going to have trouble finding spots for. But with that 88 range, does he at all become interesting to you?
I don't think so. I mean, I'd certainly play the bronze George Davis against lefties. Um, if I want defense, I'm just going for the 62 Greg Gagne. Um, so I don't think I'm playing Cardenas anymore.
Yeah, and if you're and Warbout will also just say take someone like Bridwell, and
Yeah,
you have
Brazil's
70
fine
more
too.
points of eye.
Yeah, even like the Dow Maxville, if you want a second base option, also is pretty nice.
As
That's
McNew
even
says,
better rate.
Warbot hates this card for no. Warbot hates this card for two simple reasons: no eye and no power.
Yeah,
uh, but yeah, I think Warbot's always going to have trouble with no eye, and yeah, 60 overall. I'd run Davis. I'd run Gagne for 62, Maxville for 61.
yeah. I mean, if you even go down to irons, the Everest Cabrera is also really nice. I think that's
Well, another option if you
running that
want to
car
go
all over the
pure
place.
defense, isn't there Bronze Rabbit that has a lot of range? Let me see if I.
Um, I don't know. I ever played that guy? Maybe. Yeah, he's 100 range,
Yeah, so you
but
get
his
100
bat thing looked better
range.
than
No,
Gagne. I think I'd just rather Gagne.
with this bat, I've never played him because of the bat, but
Yeah, Maxville. I think I've run in some stuff to get second base also, so I think he's useful there. But
Maxwell I've definitely found. I think I've even run him in the bronze floor cap just because I found a couple extra points and wanted the two position backup.
yeah,
All right, this is probably another F then.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Brett Wallace. Uh,
Uh, yeah. I mean, it's
so
more of the same, really. At least he plays defense.
yeah, so I think this is a card where a lot of the rating is coming from his being a really good defender at the primary position. 81 range for a first baseman's huge. The problem is just that that's the position where range matters the least.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're just like matching defense, maybe you play this guy, but like running this over Gallo or Bagwell or any of those other bronzes is just
Yep. All right. I
yeah,
think in the interest of speed run, yeah, I think this is just another F probably. I think
yeah,
all of these bronzes have been tough. Um,
yeah. Wasn't the best set for bronzes.
it's too bad because actually the very first pack I opened after the stream, I hit one of the new cards. And normally when you do that, you're really excited, but it was actually one of the bronzes, and just.
Yeah, that
All
was
right.
a bummer.
Brandon Finnegan. So I I think the immediate thing that stands out here is this card does have a ton of pitcher BABIP.
Yep.
So the question is that pitcher BABIP enough that you're going to start to make this card interesting?
Um, uh, I don't know. It maybe, I guess. The splits are kind of big, which I think is a problem. He does have stamina, which is decent, but I don't know. The control's sort of low. Maybe. I'm not sure what to do with this guy, to be honest.
He's also a lefty that only holds runners kind of okay for a lefty, I suppose.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, the pitcher BABIP's great, and even against righties, that's going to be a really useful pitcher BABIP. So let's see. So the Warbot model, which remember kind of is willing to run him on his bad side a lot more than maybe is justified, because I'm still sort of assuming that you're probably going to get to throw him against 40% lefties.
yeah, and I think bronze has a decent number of lefties if I'm remembering it right, but maybe I've got a
Yeah.
lot of bronze.
So including that, I've got him around fifth to seventh. Kind of equivalent to like Vicente Romo or Oscar Zamora,
Mm.
but a lot
Yeah,
splittier.
I think I would put him a bit lower than that, but I don't think I think you could run him probably, but I, I think I'd rather run the either some more starters in the bullpen or less splitty guys.
I agree. I don't think he quite makes I don't think he quite makes like your top 12 or so pitchers, but he's close. I
Yeah,
see.
I
I'm
mean, I
kind
think
of just
the stamina is probably his only like redeeming feature for me because that's like a lot for a reliever, which is pretty nice. Um,
That's true. Um,
but I'm still not sold.
all right, what should we give him? I think this is at least closer than the cards we were looking
Yeah,
at
I think I
before.
could give him like a C. I think a C is
Yeah, I
good.
think that's pretty good. C is kind of on the edge of the meta. It's not going to be a disaster if you run him. And I think you're going to see a bunch of these just because there are enough of these auto set lineups that being 69 overall, you're going to see him in a bunch of bronze tournaments.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know the odds that works if people care about this pitcher BABIP because it matters so little to movement. It might just pick some other guys who have more home run.
That's
But
true. Actually, I wonder. So the thing about the bronze quicks is because they're double elimination, you get a lot of off days. So I wonder. I might actually try running this card as a specialist and seeing if I could make it work. I mean, I don't really play a lot of bronze quicks just because I'm mostly playing the dailies and weeklies. But if I were, I think I might at least try this card and see if I could make him work.
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's also there's the bronze Gary Lavelle who's kind of similar, and Will McInerney who you could also think about as specialists.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lavelle is probably even better there. All right, well, let's go on to the silvers and see if those do a little better. So we got another LE first off. We got this. The image is not loading, but I swear there is an LE Mark Langston. Um, so, kind of a stuff and movement sort of card.
Yeah, it's like Mickey McDermott, but a little bit worse in everything.
That's a really good description. And I think the problem is just Mickey McDermott sort of is on the fringes of you can find places to play him, but you're not excited about it. And then this card
Yeah,
is just a couple notches below that.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I'm definitely playing the Babe Ruth over this guy, for example. So, like,
I'm definitely playing the Babe over this guy, and I'm definitely not playing the Babe. I think that's where I'm
yes,
at.
yeah. I mean, there's also like Zito and other, some other
Yeah.
guys in there too. But
And I think even as a low silver, at the moment the low silver is a historical era where this is the wrong shape. But
yeah,
even
no, this would be horrible in the current full silver.
but I think even a more modern low silver, I think you're just not running him, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I guess I mean, it's like all these cards. You can probably make a format where he plays, but
All right, I think this is probably another of these F tier cards then.
yeah,
All right, let's go on to Lima. Did we ever get a ruling from EVC whether Lee May counts for his song team?
I don't know. I didn't know he was in a song.
Am I misremembering? I thought this was the player Dishnet mentioned on the stream had like a.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah. That's a good question. I don't know.
So he may not have been mentioned in a song, but like he's in a song, literally.
Yeah, that's a good question. ABC, is there a ruling on this guy? Is he going to play for that team?
I saw ABC was in the chat a moment earlier. Well, we'll see. I like it. If he says "I" in a song, then he's in it. That's a good answer from GT Sundown. If he says "I" or "we" or something.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So, forgetting about the singing voice, although now I'm kind of curious, I may have to go on YouTube and kind of look for him. What do you think about the card here? I'll let you
I
go.
mean, my first comp was to Sal Frelick, and it just doesn't look like he's particularly in the same ballpark. Um, he's less splitty, but yeah, I don't think I'm playing this guy
Yeah,
in
I
the
think I
league.
think just as a three position outfielder, you're competing against all these future legends that are so much better that I just don't see a situation where this card's ever like close to a build.
Yeah.
All right, well we'll continue with the poor report card then. All right, we're gonna make you grade the next ones first. See if that helps.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't know if it's gonna make much difference.
all right. Give me 1 second, by the way, while we're switching. I just remembered. So I managed to do something really stupid this week, um, and I accidentally sold a couple of my bronzes. So I just need to quickly insert it back in the bronze build while we're.
I should probably check mine too as well.
Probably worth checking. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know when
Um,
the game is just gonna suddenly put some random cards in.
No, this one's my fault.
It's always a possibility.
I
But
was
yeah,
trying
no,
to I was trying to just quick sell some duplicates, and I accidentally quick sold like some bronzes that yeah.
yeah, I've taken to just whenever there's a mission with bronze and irons in it, I lock all of them even though I don't have to, just so I don't run into that.
That's a smart thing to do. I definitely should have done that. Oh no! I think it was Petway and Dink. I think yeah. See, I've got 23
Oh
out of
yeah,
26 here,
yeah.
so I'm
Think you
missing.
think you should make sure you got on your roster. That's a good
What do
one
I
to have.
got here? I've got. Is this modern again? All right, we'll do a quick build while we're talking. This is modern, right? And I'm missing. Okay, well I'm missing Petway and Dink for sure. I'll just quickly add them in.
Yep.
If anyone's curious what I am planning on running in this tournament, now you get to see exactly what you're up against, and who's gonna lose four quick games to you in the first round. But all right, so just to remember while we're doing this, in the meantime, any tips you kind of wanted to give chat? What's your top you know tip for success or something?
Tournaments. I mean, there's I think you mentioned it yesterday on Laptop Hound stream, but the pinch hitter check mark. Got to turn those off.
Yep, that's an important
Um,
one.
just making sure you have enough guys to deal with fatigue. I mean, I think another big thing that a lot of people don't necessarily do is that in a lot of era tournaments you can get away with fewer starters and just have them pitch less, and that really helps your pitching staff out a lot in those formats.
Makes it all right. I'm just gonna do it this way to save time. I won't try to look up what's best here. But what I will do is set fatigue on everybody so that
Ooh,
we
13 pitchers. Okay.
what?
You're running 13 pitchers in that.
Uh, yes, apparently I am. In fact, I'm even gonna run 13 pitchers and openers. We're gonna go all out
Wow.
here. Um, I probably should be running 12, but I'm not gonna actually try to do a build on stream. I'm just gonna, you know. So hold on. Something just happened a bunch in the chat. I was trying to see what we got here. Oh, actually, the question with leaf traders. Yeah. So we unfortunately do have a hard stop, and we've got some kind of octopus in here. Or is it a squid? Octopus? Anyway. All right. So back to the cards. I'll just enter something, and then let's get
Yeah.
back to the cards. Sorry about that. Just realized that I probably should actually put a complete build in because I was stupid enough to sell off all of my.
Yeah. Especially when it's a tournament you got to queue for a while.
Yeah. You want to at least have a complete build in here, I think. So, but yeah, we do have a hard stop in a half hour. So, Tony Oliva.
Tony Oliva. Well, I think I can predict what Warbot is going to say about him, given the lack of eye.
Let's see. Well, the rest of the card looks good, and then I scroll down. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his
Yep.
defense
All right.
also. I don't think I can run this guy in right field with the defense either. Or I wouldn't want to, at least.
Nope. I think even
Um,
low gold. I think just any of these cards with like 20i. I think we're just gonna get stuck.
yeah, it has limited splits, which is good, but other than that, yeah, I don't think it's going to hit enough, probably.
I'm still trying to figure out. Is that an octopus in the chat? I'm trying to figure out.
I
I
think
definitely
it's a
missed something
squid.
here.
I think it's a squid. But then there's also some pineapple pizza. I don't know how I feel about
Could like a
that.
calamari pizza or something. All right, Warbot's definitely giving this one an F just because of the eye. Where are you at on this?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with an F. I think there's probably, especially a lot of the future legends, I'd way rather run over this guy. And another new card we're going to get to in a second.
True. So let's look at Juan Soto. I just pulled an Oliva. So, well, if you just pulled an Oliva as a new card, you can probably sell it for some good points.
Yeah. No, when you pull one of these new cards that doesn't play a lot of places, normally it's pretty good to sell it right away.
So all right. So Juan Soto. That's potentially, yeah. See, Oliva. Actually, I guess there's been no sale, so I have no idea what the price will end up being.
Yeah, I bet you could sell one for 5 to 10K if you're patient.
Yeah. All right. So how about this Juan Soto? So here we've actually got 114i versus righties, and I guess actually the power splits the other way, but this is still mostly a platoon bat probably.
Yeah, I don't want to play this guy against lefties for sure. I guess having the two positions is nice, but I wouldn't want to start him there certainly. It is interesting. I'm just noticing he got added to the Topps Bunt code emissions, which I hadn't realized before just now.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think in low gold, I'm interested in this guy as a DH one way if I can fit him on my roster. In open gold, I think I'd rather just play Bill Joyce since he actually hits lefties.
So as a two-way DH, I've got him second behind Jim Tomei, even for low gold. So I guess the question is, are you willing to play a DH that you're platooning? Or is that just one of the positions that you kind of feel like cannot be platooned?
If we're playing open low gold, I think I might be able to get away with it just because some of the future legends are so good and play both ways easily. They've got Elijah Green and Miguel Vargas and guys like that. So it's a little easier, I think, to fit in some extra position players. But this is probably one of the first guys out the door if I need space.
Okay, so Warbot says that this card's going to run almost identical to Tomei in an open low gold tournament. So Tomei versus righties, that is. So Tomei's got 24 more points of power. In return, Soto's got a little more. He's got more BABIP and more gap power. Here, I'll just put up. I can't do the
Yeah, no, I
comparison
think.
because I don't have both of the cards, but I'll just flash Tomei up here as well.
I mean, the thing is, I think I'm probably just playing Tommy at third in open low gold. Um, so I would be okay putting both in the lineup. I don't think I would play Soto in the outfield unless I really had no other choice somehow.
See, in low gold, I think I'm running Bautista at third. Although you could run him in the outfield too.
Even versus righties, I guess he's
No,
split reverse
No,
split, isn't he?
Bautista's actually got the reverse splits.
Yeah.
He's here. I'll put Bautista up.
Mhm. I don't know. I think I'm playing. I don't know that I'm playing Bautista in open low gold actually. I think I might rather just play like Tommy and Spencer Steer or Silver Chipper Jones at third, and then the future legends in the outfield.
Could see that too. I think they're all kind of in the mix. So my sense is I'm probably never quite playing this Soto, but I think there are builds where I'd want to. It's just like with the
Yeah.
combination of cards that I end up finding at other positions and where I need backups. I think I'd rather have a DH that plays infield as a backup than a DH that plays outfield and things like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think maybe if we at some point get an OOTP era open low gold, it gets pretty interesting, but also FL2 will be coming eventually, and it'll probably just kick him out of that also.
Probably. Well, at least see Joey Bats is definitely OOTP era. What year is the Tomei? Is
I think
he?
that
No, he's
Tony
not
is
quite.
a,
O. He's
yeah, I
96.
think he's a little too old, yeah.
Oh, is there? Is Kazkin points out? Is there no low gold tournament?
I don't believe there's one at the moment, but I mean, I assume we'll get one at some point.
I guess there's a refresh coming up. So
Yeah, and I check that. Pretty sure there was.
all right. So where do we put this Soto? I think this is a card where I'm kind of torn because I feel like I'm somehow never going to actually end up running this, but just looking at the ratings, I feel like I should be running it.
Yeah, I think either a B or a C probably.
All right, so
Like,
Kazken, by Tourney refresh, usually what happens is every couple months they do something to change the formats of the tournaments a little bit. So maybe for example the low diamond will start being run in a different year or something like that, and they haven't yet announced that they're doing one, but they usually do it every couple months, and it's now been about a couple months since this was released. So if I had to guess, I would guess that that's going to come you know, yeah, I'd guess it'll come maybe in a week or two because they like a natural time to do it would be the end of the PTCS period.
yeah, I mean that's sort of what we got last year a lot, especially at the end of the year. We got them pretty regularly every PTCS. So I would think after this after next week we'll get one. I hope so at least.
Okay. Gold Quick might not be do or die. I don't know. They usually have more changed the dailies and weeklies, but they could do something like make the do or die format the silver and make the gold a best of five. They could do something like that also.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it'd be good to rotate those too. I mean, just get some new roster building, new teams in there.
and I know
Uh,
there's at least been a lot of community interest in having some best of 7 32 team quicks. We haven't had any announcement that that'll happen, but I know at least it's something that enough people in the community have mentioned that probably they'll address it somehow.
yeah, that'd be good. Definitely, it's
Um,
definitely been
so
a
what are we
big
giving
feedback.
Soto? Um,
I think I give him a C. I might give him a B if I didn't know that Future Legends 2 is coming eventually.
yeah.
But I
I,
think it's a C.
I will also say this is one where, unlike the Zobrist, where I think it was a real mistake that it's a 95, I'm really glad this card's an 84. Because as an
Oh yeah,
85, I'm
absolutely.
never touching it, and as an 84, I think there are ways that you can find to run him.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good 84.
All right, Archie Bradley. What do we got here? So, great homer prevention. Uh, this one is now a full gold instead of a low gold.
Yep.
Not a lot of splits. I don't know. Where have you got him in your pen? Is he
Um,
playable for
I,
you?
I don't have him as being playable. I think he's just kind of letting too many guys on base. Um, Even in low gold, I don't know that I'd be running him, but it's closer. But I think in high gold, you got so many, like Wilsie Moore, for example, is a card that can't really be a starter, but is an excellent reliever. You've got some other guys, Putz and Guante and McKinley Jansen's,
Yep.
like the new Clippard. Uh, I
Yeah.
don't think he's finding a spot really.
Yeah, I think I'm similar. I think just in this meta, I think you need to be good at least one of control and pitcher BABIP. You can get away being bad in one if you're good enough in everything else, but you have to have at least one way of stopping runners from
Yeah,
getting on, and he just doesn't quite hit either.
yeah, and he doesn't even have the stuff really to even strike out too many guys.
All right, so this one's unplayable.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hold on. Spreadsheet does not want to update. Let's try that again. All right, so let's move on and talk about Acuna, who's also an 85.
Yeah, another one that probably could have been an 84.
Yep.
Would have been a lot more interesting there, I think.
I think he also would have been a lot more interesting if the eye were splitting the opposite way.
Yeah, I mean the power also. It's a bit of a weird split. The power and the BABIP and the eye are all kind of mixed up a bit.
Because the problem is
Um,
in gold, just there are so many cards that have huge eye and huge power and at least acceptable defense.
right. I mean, you
And
can't play him in center field clearly. Um,
no, but even in the corners, there are
uh,
cards, like the
but yeah, then you have
yeah,
to go against the good bats. So
exactly. So I think this one's probably just not going to be playable. Like Joey Weimer is just, I think, better across
yeah,
the board.
Billy Wong was
To
a
build a
ton better than
lineup,
this guy.
Berkman's probably better.
Yeah,
If
even
you're
Elijah Green, I'm running over this guy. I think.
definitely in center, maybe in a
Yeah,
corner too. Yeah. All right, let's go. We'll go on. We're trying to do the speed round. It's probably another not so playable, huh?
yep.
All right, Gio Gonzalez. Do we get it? Do we get a hit with Gio here?
I don't think so.
At least based on the last 10, it seems like there's more interest from the community on this one. So we do
Yeah,
have good pitcher BABIP, a little bit splitty, but for a left-handed starter, maybe not horrible.
yeah. I mean, I think the pitcher BABIP is probably what's driving people to buy him a lot, but I think with the low stamina and the low control, he's kind of just going to pitch like 4 innings, and then your bullpen's going to have to be in. And I don't know that he's really that good of a pitcher anyway to justify doing something like that.
Yeah, well, I think if you're looking at him as a reliever, the kinds of cards you're comparing him with are like a Wilsie Moore, which is just this card, but like another 10 or 15 points of control.
Yeah, I mean, even something like the Matt Moore
Yeah,
just
I'd
looks
run
a
Matt
lot
Moore
better.
ahead of him for sure. So I don't have this. I'd run Liberatore as well.
Um, I might be tempted to run this over Liberatore, but yeah, I mean, it's
All right. I think we'll.
yeah, I don't think it's that good.
All right. Well, we'll continue with the poor report card, I guess.
Well, it's about to get better.
I'm afraid this one's looking a little bit like a see me after class.
Yeah.
How about Tyler Clippard?
All right. We finally got a good one here.
I promise we're going to
Um,
bring you back on a stream with some more interesting cards.
well, this one's fine. This is I think this is just the best reliever in gold now.
Yeah, I've got him the same. And he's also not splitty. He's
Yeah,
got
I think
tiny
this is a
reverse
good card.
splits.
I mean, you might even be able to get away with running this guy in low diamond. In fact, probably you can.
I would run him in low diamond, except that right now the low diamond's a historical format where the control
Yes.
maybe matters a bit more. But in a modern low diamond, I think I would definitely run this card.
Yeah. No, card's really good. I mean, there's a reason people are paying 15K for a reliever.
Yeah, this is a
Um,
card I'd pay 15K for if I were certainly if I were spamming gold quicks. I 100% would play this. Um,
yeah,
15,
no, it's
15,
it,
well, 15K is a lot for a reliever.
15K is a lot for a reliever, but it is. I mean, I think it's the best reliever in gold by a decent amount. I mean, there's I guess Kenley is probably the next one, but this is like a good deal better to me.
Yeah, I kind of like the Billy Wagner as well, but uh, Kenley. I've been running David Wells a little bit, uh, but yeah, this is. I've actually also been playing around with Ron Davis, though this card I have is like significantly better than that tier.
Yeah, I mean, that Ron Davis and also the Ryan Duran are both sort of interesting cards. I'm not quite sure what to think about. They seem to do reasonably well, but I don't have them projected to do all that well. So
I, I
maybe is this
have I have
intuitive
Davis
stuff, or I don't know.
projected to be the eighth best reliever, but
Yeah,
just for the shape I'm trying to run in gold, I've ended up trying him.
yeah. I tried the Ryan Duran as a righty specialist for a bit, and I wasn't super impressed with him. And I think I eventually switched away to Jesse Flores or something.
Yeah.
But
So, all
yeah,
right, what do we What are
interesting
we
so
giving
far.
this one? I think this one's going to get a pretty good grade finally.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant to give relievers an S generally because it's just hard for them to get like enough value. But this thing plays in so many tournaments. It plays in low diamond. I think I can give this guy an S.
I think the fact that it is the wrong format for low diamond, I think it's not quite S tier for me in part because it is the best gold reliever, but I don't think it's the best gold reliever by a huge margin the way like Joe Barry was when things dropped or the Adams or something like that.
Yeah, I guess I think an A is fine too.
So I think maybe this. I think it's at least a solid A though. This is definitely a
Definitely a
card I
solid
want
A.
from the set. I'm gonna end up with a copy of him
Yeah,
at
I
some
mean,
point pretty soon.
Sandy Koufax aside, I think this is probably the best card of the set for its level.
Looks like we've got a whole feast. I'm not quite sure what started the food fight in chat, but
Those popcorn, we got beer. It's really a lot.
um, all right. What do we got next? All right, we're up to the high diamonds suddenly. It's a big jump. Let's start with this Mike Scott because I think that's going to be a real interesting discussion.
Yeah, so this is an interesting card. I think this and Burley are pretty clearly the two best diamond starters there are now. I have Scott a little bit ahead of Burley, but it's reasonably close, I think. So the question is just like, where are you playing him? Because there are not a ton of diamond formats at the moment, I think.
So I've got Scott further ahead than that. I have him a decent amount ahead of Burley. So in that sense, Burley's a 150K card. It's a little later in the cycle and there are more points out there. You might well think the card's worth something like that. I think there are a couple things that make it a little trickier though. And the big one, as you said, is just there aren't a lot of formats that this card plays in. Burley plays in the historical era formats where this is not your best card anymore because it's sort of the wrong shape. It's more a stuff card than a control card. It's also a righty, which hurts it a little bit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't play OOTP era, which a lot of these other cards do.
Yeah. I mean, it also only has 77 stamina, and Burley has 85.
Burley has 85, but a lot of the other top diamond starters are still these low diamond future legends that
Yeah.
are kind of similarly low stamina.
Yeah.
So Tiedemann and Brown are even lower than this, and I'm still
Yeah.
running.
I think Taj Bradley is actually also
Taj
very,
Bradley's
very strong.
77.
Yeah.
Fott is 77.
Yeah.
So the
I mean, there's some
question,
other.
yeah.
If you want like that, I mean, there's already there's Sam Lever, I guess, if you want like a big stamina guy, but yeah, the diamond Tom Chaney actually is probably a better one.
Well, Cheney's my ace, I think, for the historical format, but modern, I'm not running Cheney.
They're not running him at all. It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really running.
But so the question is, if we think this is now the best diamond starter, but he plays in a lot fewer formats than Burley. I guess my question is, how much would you pay for a card like this? Do you think he's
Um,
also worth the 150K that Burley settled out at, or
I
does the lack of formats mean that you don't pay as much, even though he's going to be potentially dominant in the formats that he plays?
yeah, I don't think I'm going to pay as much for this as Burley. Um, just yeah, the lack of OTP era is a little rough. I mean, I will say I think he can play in league for a lot of people,
Yeah,
so
I
that
think that's
does
true.
help a bit. Um, I think maybe I'd pay 75, 100K for this guy.
I think that, yeah, I'd probably be somewhere similar in there. The thing I'd really be tempted by with this card is if there's a tourney refresh coming, then if it turns out they change some of the diamond formats and those aren't the early era ones anymore, then I start to like this card a whole lot better than Burley.
Um,
So you're
yeah, I
sort
think
of doing a little bit of spec on like the tourney refresh, which I don't know if that's a good or bad idea.
I think if I had the choice between the two, I'd definitely rather own Burley, even if he's a little bit worse a card. The 2 points in cast is like not it's not a lot, but it's not nothing.
Yeah.
And the OTP era is pretty nice.
Yeah, I think the model tells me definitely we want Scott between the two, but I think you're right. Given the current setup, if I could pick one, I'd pick Burley. Um, but I think given that, I think this is still an A tier card.
Yeah, no, it's a tier card. It plays in every diamond format. Basically, it can play in league. It's a good card.
Yeah, and I think it would be an S tier card if it had Burley's shape instead.
Or Burley's era eligibility. Yeah.
That's yeah, or even the era eligibility. Um, all right, how about this Altuve? We got 13 minutes till our hard stop. We just might get there.
Okay, let's try to go through this guy quickly. I
Uh,
don't think he's a second baseman.
no, but
I
if
don't
he's
think
not
his
a
bat
second
doesn't.
baseman, the problem. I mean, even as a second baseman, the problem is just every second base card that gets released right now is compared with Volpe.
Yep,
Uh,
Volpe is a pretty suffocating card for a lot of diamond infielders. It's very
um,
difficult to get past him.
but I guess I don't have this as a top 10 sort of diamond second baseman anyway, though. Just because of the defense. And if you start to look at this as a DH, then just the bat's not there.
No, yeah, the DH definitely isn't there. I mean, yeah, maybe
So
in an
this,
older era as a DH, you could get away with him just because of the BABIP, but yeah, I
but
don't know.
so you're saying that this card goes in the trash can?
Yeah, I think it goes in the trash can, or with the buzzing strip or whatever.
Yes, yeah, that's right. He was the buzzing strip guy, not the.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? Tony Perez, not Yuri Perez, who's also a good card.
Yeah.
And so I see at least the market seems to like this card quite a bit. Um, how about you?
Yeah. No, I like this guy. I mean, he's a really good hitter, I think, especially versus lefties. Nice defense. I think if I had every card, I'm probably platooning this guy at first in diamond tournaments with Buck
Interesting.
Leonard. Um, I will say that first base against lefties is a bit weak right now. We kind of have Delahanty and Mantle, and then there's a fairly big gap, I think. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent card. I don't think it's like an amazing card. Like York is probably relatively similar. Eric Thames also. He's a lefty, but he has really big reverse splits. So I don't think it's like a must play card, but I don't have a problem with it.
So my model has this card in York almost identical, but York very slightly higher.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I have Perez a little bit higher than York. Like,
I've got York like literally point oh 0.01 WAR higher than Perez. So
yeah, I have like
basically,
a quarter half win for Perez versus lefties only.
sorry, I meant as a two-way card. So
Oh,
I
is
can
it?
run it versus lefties as well. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I have Perez better than York both ways actually, but I wouldn't play Perez versus righties. I'd play Buck Leonard or like Brett Beatty or something. I
yeah.
guess too.
Um, so I think the fact that York kind of exists does make Perez weaker, just because at this point York's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder if you could play Perez at third, um, first left. Like his third base isn't terrible.
Maybe. I think I'd rather play Bregman.
Yeah, probably Bregman or even I think Diamond Chipper is also pretty decent.
Yeah.
Uh, Even
Um,
does Gordon Walker have third base naturally? Because you could even do that.
I can check. I can pull up Walker.
Yes, he does.
I think he does.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that might be another option. So I think this is a good card that I'm probably never quite going to end up playing, just because York is, for me, essentially as good, 6 points cheaper, and I will admit that I've been bailed out by York's catcher availability once or twice.
yeah, it is actually pretty nice. I was very tempted to run him at catcher in the PTS one.
Yeah, I
I
couldn't
did not
quite
do
pull the
it.
trigger, but I tried to
I
talk
couldn't either.
myself into it.
Yeah.
So I think this is definitely a card that deserves to be in the meta. Uh, what do you think? What do you want to give it?
Um, I think I could give it a B, probably.
Yeah, I think that works. We'll give it a solid B. Um, you might do a little better than Rudy York with this. Depends kind of exactly where we're at with these models. And I also know that the Warbot model still struggles with first base, because I still keep forgetting to actually get the height information out of the database now that it exists.
Yeah, I mean, first base defense, I don't think makes huge difference anyway.
So,
It's all kind of a wash. And York's actually a pretty decent defender.
yeah, except a catcher. All
Except for
right,
catcher.
Josh Hader, here we go. 8 minutes, 4 cards. We
Oh,
can totally
can
do
we even get through
this.
Hater in 8 minutes? I wouldn't even get through Hater.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, Hater's really interesting card. Like, probably the biggest splits we've seen in any card yet.
Maybe Lavelle's close, but
Maybe Lavelle, yeah.
this
I mean,
128 pitcher BABIP, I think I mentioned this on Laptop Pound stream. I'm pretty sure 128 is the cap for what shows. And to me, a big part of evaluating this card is this just higher than 127? Or is this
right.
significantly more like some of the 125 contact guys were in OOTP 23?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, like, in Diamond, you're just running this guy. Even if he's horrible against righties, it's fine.
I think
I think
so.
League is really the place where he's interesting. Because
Yeah.
like I do not want him to face a single right-handed batter, like at any point if I can help it.
No, and that also means I think this is going to be a really effective card out of the pen, but you got to be running him in the middle innings, not the late innings.
Yeah, and you have to also, I mean, you need to actually figure out a way to get your manager to do what you want it to do, which is not easy,
No.
especially with all the switch hitters. It gets confused. I think sometimes it's very, it's hard to get it to do what you want.
So this could be a much longer discussion if we didn't have a hard stop in 6 minutes, but
Yeah,
because
I mean,
this,
if you can get
yeah.
this to face no righties, it's an S. If you can't get it to face no righties, it's a B, A, C. I don't know.
Whoops, sorry. Yep. Is he worth 120,000 points? I don't think he's worth 120,000 points, because you can get like an Adams or a Joe Barry or something like that for that price, and those are still going to be better
Yeah,
cards for your league team.
no, absolutely. I mean, you should really only play in this guy if you have like a very specific way you want to use him and a build that actually lets that specific way work. Like this is not a card you're just putting in your pen and leaving there.
No, I'm tempted to run him in an extreme lefty cheese park in the league, and I think after he starts giving up homers, I'm gonna quickly stop being tempted.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is there aren't even a lot of good lefty cheese parks right now. I don't think.
No, that's true. There are fewer this year. Um, at least lefty cheese home run parks. I think there's some lefty cheese average parks.
Yeah, I mean, but you could like the thing the 0.9 1.1 you used to be able to do was just so extreme, and now you can't get anywhere near that
Yeah,
for
yeah. There are bigger
anything.
splits in home runs, but smaller splits in average.
Yeah,
But it's probably also more realistic. Like, it's hard to imagine what you could do to the geometry of a park to actually have that big of a split in average.
Yeah, no, it's true. It doesn't work. I mean, I guess you have some like MLB rule like this wedge thing they want to put in that right fielders can't stand in right field. But
Yeah. All right. What are we giving him here? Like, I feel like it's the toughest because depending on what that pitcher BABIP actually is, this could be anywhere from like a close to end game card to almost immediately out of the meta.
yeah, I think I think I'm I think I just give him a B, um, because if you have the right setup for him and you can get him to work, he's amazing. But unless you have that, you really can't play this guy. I don't think.
I think I'm closer to an A, so let's give him an A/B. How about that?
Yeah, I think an incomplete would be fine on him. Honestly, I just want to see what his BABIP looks
Yeah,
like.
I think that's right. I think we are sort of giving him an incomplete, but at the same time, like wherever he ends up in that incomplete, this is a card that probably is going to be runnable at least for a while and is going to be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like we've gone on long enough probably about it, but
All
he's an
right.
interesting card.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. 3 minutes, three cards. We can totally do this.
Yep.
All
Quick, quick,
right.
quick.
Roy Face.
Okay.
Who I always used to confuse because there's an Elroy Face that, yeah. Anyway. What do we got?
I
Huge control.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is just a good card. It's just a good reliever that you should play in Diamond.
I think
It's
this is, yeah, this is, depending upon where the thing with Hater goes, unclear, but I think this is close to your S tier reliever because in addition to all the things that the models really like about it, this is also a righty with 99 hold runners, which is enormous in the late innings.
Yeah, that is very nice. I think the question is also for this guy, like how many people play this guy in league? Probably like a decent number.
Maybe, yeah.
Um,
Um,
so
I think you
I
can
mean,
get away with him in.
Diamond certainly just sticking him in as your high leverage reliever and just forgetting about it. But
Yeah, I think you can get away with that in League too.
yeah,
So, what do you think? Is this an S tier card? Is this an A tier card? I could
I
I
think if
could give him an S if you wanted. What do you think?
I think if we gave Clippard an A, I think I'm giving this guy an A too. I don't. I think Clippard actually probably I'm going to end up playing in more tournaments than I would play face in.
I feel like
Yeah,
this card probably has more shelf life than Clippard.
maybe. I don't know.
Um,
I guess if we start getting a lot of diamonds that have big BABIPs, he starts looking a little bit worse.
yeah, and I guess for the historical era, it's a little tougher, just because you don't play the reliever. Give him an A
Yeah,
plus.
I mean the
How about we give him
control
an
is
A
really
plus?
good. But yeah, A plus is fine. That's fine.
If he had a little more stamina, I would just start him in 1919.
Yeah, I mean I think he did start some seasons in his career. I don't
Um,
know, but
all right, let's see. Two cards, 1 minute. All right, very quick speed round. Let's start with Bly 11 because that's easy.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, Koufax is. I mean, but
really good
yeah. I
card.
mean, Flat
Uh,
Lemon's a good card. I think. Oh, it's a long reliever, so sleep. Okay.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of in like the kind of third tier mishmash, with the build of lineups and Foster and Santana and those kind of guys.
I have him a little bit better than that, but it's also a righty, and eventually when it's not a switch hitter heavy meta, I think he'll suffer a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, this is a card that you're buying to play in league if you're buying him probably. So if you're running a super low BABIP park, this guy gets really good.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe solid, at least a
so
solid B then.
yeah, I think a B is
Like
fine. Like this
I
is
think if I get this card, I'm running him in league, but not for that long, and so I'm probably not
yeah,
paying points to get him.
yeah. I'm certainly not paying 185K to get him. I think actually the first sale, which was at 90K, was about the right price for him, probably.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. All right, we're gonna go raid Doctor Dynastic. Before we do, we should probably do a quick discussion of Koufax.
Kofax is a bad card that you should sell to me for quick sell.
Clearly, Koufax
Yeah.
is a quick sell.
Yeah.
Look, I think all the debate around Koufax has been whether it's good or bad for the game. That's a debate that people can have in the Discord. Uh, but I think as a card, Koufax is very clearly the best pitcher in the game and likely to be in the meta for a long time, right?
Yeah, I would think he lasts probably, I don't know, 3 months as a starting pitcher or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he may last until like a peak Koufax gets released.
Yeah, was this not? Oh, this was not the Pico effect. Yeah.
I will say I actually kind of like it more that the peak, that like the dominant meta card like this is at least a big name rather than kind of a peak card from someone that you don't think of as being
Yeah.
dominant.
So that is nice. And I mean, also, it's been great having Joss. We never really had a Joss card that I remember, at least, that was like a top card. So it's been nice to have him.
Yeah,
And
I
he's such a
definitely
good
like
player.
that. All right. I really do have a hard stop, so
All right.
let me thank you for coming on. I do want to have you on longer for a future stream.
Yeah, no,
Hopefully you had a lot of fun too.
I had a good time. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, definitely want to, be able to do the whole kidneys thing and have like a longer discussion with you about some strategy. We did have a hard stop on this one, had to race through it. So we're gonna go raid Dr. Dynastic, who I'll just say has a much better voice for streaming than I do.
Yeah,
But
probably
but thanks
myself too.
everyone. I'm sorry we didn't get our usual 5 drops, but Dr. Dynastic will definitely take care of that for you.
It's close. It's only 7 minutes off.
All right,
He
thanks a
started
lot,
right there.
everyone. All right, I'll see you. All right, let me get the raid
Right.
going. And yeah, thanks again, isidafo.